Hi beautiful souls, so happy solstice to you for tomorrow. And I was just looking at the planets there, and I'd just done a reading for Christmas for the group, and I just thought, you know what, I really need to do this reading tonight because I've got a very busy day tomorrow, but that's not why I'm doing the reading tonight. It was just like the energies were just saying, you've got to do it now. So the reason that this winter solstice is particularly powerful is that Jupiter and Saturn, we've been through these cycles of planets and signs changing, and which is always the way with astrology. And this hasn't happened for 600 years, that Jupiter and Saturn are in conjunct, so they are both at 0 degrees of Aquarius. What that means is that Aquarius is it's the higher mind. It's not higher learning like Sagittarius, but it's using the mind for good. It actually rules things like the internet. If we think back to 40 years ago, when most of us didn't have phones, those of us that remember, the generations now that don't know any different, they've always had electronics like phones and mobile phones and IT, is that who would have thought 40 years ago that something like the internet would be created? That's like Aquarian using of the mind. It's a very Aquarian energy. So we need to put this all together. So 0 is a really powerful choice point because it's the start of a sign. So it's going into the first degree, but it's actually the entrance into that sign of that energy. So it's a little bit like 29 degrees is just before, because every sign of the zodiac has 30 degrees. So at 29 degrees, it's also a real critical degree, because it's as you're leaving that sign, you're saying goodbye to that chapter. So we're opening a new chapter. So the last time this happened was, I think, 600 years ago, and it was the start of the Renaissance. So it was the start of an exploration into art, literature, creativity, music, and how that was going to be experienced in society. So we've had all these quite big hitting planets like Pluto, the planet of irrevocable transformation in Capricorn. It kind of likes being there because Capricorn can handle it. In other signs it would be a little bit more dubious. And Saturn has just been in Capricorn. It's also, Jupiter's just been in Capricorn. So Jupiter it rules Sagittarius. It likes freedom. It's like it's in Greek mythology it would be linked to Zeus. So it's like, I'm going to come in, I'm going to make your life happy and prosperous and jovial and fun and abundant, and I'm going to, where I go, everything's just going to expand. And Jupiter's a gas planet, so it can also be a lot of hot air. But then you've got Saturn, which actually loves being in Capricorn, because Capricorn is a notoriously hard-working sign. It likes to build structure. It likes to create forms and foundations that are lasting for a long time. Saturn rules things like cycles, the cycles of time. It's linked with Cronus. So if you link all of this up with Greek mythology, it's quite interesting. So you've got this really expansive planet in Aquarius, which is a very forward-thinking sign. It's a fixed sign, so it can be stubborn in its thought forms. It's an air sign. And then you've got Saturn, which can be linked to being the planet of restriction, but it's also the planet of getting down to a bit of hard work and slow building of not necessarily systems, but it's building things slowly. Saturn doesn't rush. So putting a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle piece there for you together. So Aquarius is very much about groups of people, and not necessarily spirituality, but helping. It's benevolence. It's going out there and doing something good for society. Um, Aquarius is ruled by the planet Uranus, which is the planet of surprise. Um, it's it's wacky out there stuff. It's being very, very different. It's trying things out before anybody else thought about it. And the thing about Uranus is it can be known for being a little bit of a trickster planet. So it can bring surprises and shocks and things that we weren't expecting. So what I really feel with these two planets going into the sign of Aquarius is that there's going to be some kind of form and structure being built around the internet, because I think, as we can see, it's gone a bit too far when it comes to online bullying and shaming and, you know, keyboard warriors hiding behind a screen to spew out a load of toxic babble. And I think with Saturn there now, I think there's going to be structures put in place to rein that in, and I think that would be good. It's a positive thing. It's also going to be the development of the higher mind. So we're going to be hopefully using our mental faculties for the good of the development of the consciousness. So this is really thinking outside the box moments. This is actually doing it and putting it into practicalities. There's also lots of different ways that this could play out, but I don't want this to be a particularly long video. What I want to do is hand this over to Spirit now. And it's interesting because I did a reading on love before, and the cards for this are completely different, apart from the astrology cards, because these offer real, like, clear points of guidance. This is what I love about the astrology cards, is they can almost tell us what's going on behind the scenes that we can't yet see. The Ina Segal healing cards, I'm using these, and also my Path of the Soul cards, because they're deeply in tune with what's going on in the ethers. And I'm using the Starseed Oracle because they're a little bit out there and I love that. So I'm just going to have a sip of my drink. So much talking today. So I'm going to ask our wonderful spirit guides and angels and loved ones in the world of spirit to come through. Those that work on the vibration of unconditional love, guidance, clarity, working with the higher mind. And actually it's interesting because as soon as I say that, I can feel Uriel, Archangel Uriel around me. This is just completely different energy. I feel like this is more galactic guides coming through with this message. I don't know why, but it would make sense, because I feel like our connection with other, they're saying to me, thought forms. That's how they are perceived, as being thought forms, but actually it's probably going to be a reality in the coming years that we are going to be having now direct. It's going to be more overtly seen, so there's no more hiding away of the fact that other species do exist in other planets, in other galaxies, and it's going to become more and more available to us, but we're going to see it more. They're actually saying to me it's going to be more the norm. The other thing that I'm hearing as well with this opening of this new chapter, the age of Pisces, they call it. It's a term to say, like, this, it's to do with planetary alignments as well, but it's to do with almost like an energetic chapter where we were learning about the psychic field. So we were learning about energy, we were learning about, for some people, they were learning about the occult side of life. It was about connecting with the, not necessarily unseen worlds, but the spiritual levels of life. And what they're saying is that with the age of Pisces, there was also a period as well where people would almost being a little bit indulged with their wounds, and that's now going to move forward into an age where we look at what we can really do to help people, even on a psychological level. That is also going to develop, so it's quite interesting. People are also going to be really woken up quite abruptly. I know I said this in my last video, but it's really coming through. So you see, your soul makes an appointment to be here at the right time and to come down here in this suit and to do a series of learnings and experiences with players, which might be from your family, your friends, your work colleagues. And this age of Aquarius is really going to wake up now. It's because there is no time in the spirit world. It's really going to wake up people who have kind of said, no, I don't want to do that, because the human experience will go, oh my God, I don't really like change. I don't really want to do that. What's everybody going to think of me if I do this or if I work like this? Some people are already ahead of the game of life. And that is that they have, they've taken risks, they've done things outside the box. They've gone past that point of worrying what anybody else thinks of them, because their soul calling is much more stronger than what any outside force or influence will impart on them. So this period now is going to wake up many people who went back to sleep, so they have an inkling what they're doing isn't right for them. It's not the path really of their choosing. They're just getting on with it and they're going, I'll just carry on doing this. Many of them might be getting tower moments. So things will start collapsing, and I don't mean this in a negative way. They'll start to, they will be pulled apart or removed so that they will start to see that another way is going to be possible for them. So I'm actually going to do all the cards together, and I'm just going to ask Spirit now to just pull out the cards for us for this winter solstice. What are the messages, please? That's all I'm going to ask for winter solstice. So there's one card there, and then there's these two on the side, which I'm going to leave. Now these cards have got quite a specific meaning. The Showley Harnish cards. Right, they're saying I've got to do the Ina Segal cards last, because these cards are really great to show us what's going to be happening on a physical level here on the earth. So what people might be seeing or experiencing, right? So messages for the winter solstice, please, for all of us watching. Thank you. And then the Starseed Oracle. Okay. They're saying that, and this is so interesting actually, because I got a message about this today and I just thought it was for me. And Spirit said to me, ever since you've been doing readings, Angela, in the early days, you might start and do a reading, it'd take an hour, even up to an hour and a half. Like, I'd always make sure that, the client went away without feeling, what the hell was all that about? Sometimes they would go away going, right, I'm not quite sure, but I'll go away and I'll let it settle and process. What they said to me today was, have you noticed now the messages are like there within 5 minutes? There's no messing around. And they're saying that's really going to get even stronger and powerful now. So messages for the winter solstice, for those already working in the light. But they're also saying it's a very strong entry of more light onto the earth and a lot of cleansing. So those that are going to transition more quickly into their next, almost like, not mission, but soul contract, they're going to find it a little bit easier because they've done the shadow work this year. The Spirit's saying that this year was about casting the shadows aside, and seeing that they're only shadows. They're all part of you. They're part of your experience here, but they don't define who you are. But it's necessary to acknowledge that they're there and that they exist. Right, so I'm going to actually look at all these cards together. Right, wow, that's gorgeous. That wasn't what I was expecting at all. Now, these cards don't have an upside down reading of them. Where is my box for these? Right, I'm not organised. Oh, there we are. I don't know where I've put it. Right, so I'm just going to show you these cards because they're designed with fractal art, and I'm sorry it's a little bit dark in here, but they told me that this was the right light for the reading. They wanted the candle in the background. So some people get things from images, so I'm just going to hold this to you just so you can see it. So that's card number 2. So I'm just going to put that there against the rose quartz, and I'm going to see what this card is because I don't know all the meanings. Right, so encoded. Where others see nothing, you see the deeper meaning or message hidden within. Your guides are working to communicate with you as your intuition and inner knowing expands. Be mindful of all that you are experiencing in each moment. Be aware of animal messengers, cloud formations, colours, conversations of others, and anything else that catches your attention. You are taking the next step up in awareness and connection to the unseen world. So this is basically saying that there's going to be a very, very strong spiritual development. Expedition. Is that a word? Expedition? No, people are going to be expedited. That's how I want to say it. I just kept hearing that word. Somebody was shouting it at me. People are being expedited quickly into this energy about learning to trust with their intuition. Right, and then we got 35, which I know is the royal, because it's a number 8, it's abundance, but this is the royal order. So I will read that to us. I'm just going to hold that to the camera there. Maybe you might be getting something out of this. Actually, if you look around this area, if you actually, I'm getting the female form around this card. Some people might get symbols, geometric shapes, sacred geometry, signs. But I'm actually getting a very strong message here about the divine feminine leading the way, and actually an awakening of a deepening of respect for femininity again. It's actually going to come back and resurface. Almost like, we've lost our way a little bit to the point where people have got very, I'm not saying everybody, but there's a large portion of society, they've almost got numb to true intimate connection. This is 39. I know sometimes that card can look a bit scary, but this is almost like, looks like a healing heart because of the green. It looks like a heart being cracked open with the red all around it. It can almost like remind me of the 3 of Swords in the tarot, which is like heartbreak and pain, but it's also setting 1-3. So I'm going to read the royal order to us first and see what that says. So these are the messages around the solstice and what's coming in. So the royal order card, which is the white card, we play important roles in each other's lives. We aid each other on the journey to oneness and ascension. Before we can play an integral part in helping others, we have to first take care of ourselves. The royal order is about keeping within the divine order of life. Be sure to care for this physical vessel that is you. It needs to run and function properly. You have an important part to play in the lives of others, so make sure you take care of yourself first. So what they're saying is, over this next portion of winter, many of us will feel guided to really put into practice what we preach when it comes to self-care. And they're also saying that those that took the proper slowing down this year, which actually was what this opportunity was for, it actually was an opportunity. It's not all doom and gloom and darkness. I mean, a lot of people have chosen to go down that rabbit hole, and that spirit is saying, well, that's what they'll see then. That's what they'll see. So there's a really strong message here. The energies I'm getting and the guides are very, very different from the reading before. They're very matter of fact. They're very direct. They're very supportive. And I feel like there's almost like this portal of light that some people are going to really embrace this solstice with, and others aren't. But I am also hearing change or be changed, because it's almost like it's not like, it's not like a marathon or a race, or anybody knows more than anybody else. But some people have expedited themselves very well on their own path because they've listened to their intuition. It's that simple. Whereas others have decided, no, I'll just carry on and I'll just focus on, the basic things in life, mind myself and not anybody else. But what we're being reminded here with this message is that we're all in this together. But this next portion of time, there's going to be a transitional period with these energies that's going to be a little bit full on. But what Spirit is saying is that those of us that are tuned in will know this. And they're saying, don't panic, because as soon as there's a portal of light or an energy portal where we get to upgrade, not only tapped in with our intuition, with Spirit. So every time there's a portal of light, we get an opportunity to upgrade, almost like the speed of our energy system to receive guidance. That's what it feels like to me. And the thing is, it doesn't mean that you know any more or any less than anyone else. It just means that your body, your whole system goes through a shift. And I noticed this around the new moon in Sagittarius because I could see what was going on with the energy. The energy was really shifting again in a really positive way. But the thing is, when light comes in, it shines on everything, even the things we don't like, because it's illuminating the things that we need to see that we don't need anymore. And we don't need to go into a panic. This is when, not mentorship, but this is where spiritual direction is powerful. It's not enabling, it's empowering. Because we have to go through these shifts ourselves. Our teachers, our guides cannot do it for us. They will be there, they'll have our backs, but we have to do it. We have to go through the experience. And the last new moon, I could really feel the energy, more and more light coming in. And I could see a lot of people acting out and being like headless chickens because they don't understand what's going on. All they're feeling is there's a speeding up of everything, there's a quickening. And what it does with some people is because they're not tuned in and tapped in, their response is one of reactivity and almost like manicness. It's like, well, so as we're embracing this energetic expansion of love and light, other people will go into fear and panic because they'll go underground instead of embracing it. So they'll deny it. Because part of the process of embracing the light is to work with the light and allow yourself to slow down, because when you are getting a download of light in your physical and your energetic body, you can feel tired, and you can also feel like there's things that are leaving your life and there's things that you will need to action and change. And what happens is people will just say, oh my God, this is a nightmare, my life's falling apart. And actually that's the bit where you hand over. That's where you say to Spirit, actually, you know what, I know this is all going, but still a large portion of society are still not wanting to embrace the unseen worlds. They're not willing to embrace intuition and divinity for what it is. It's not here to scare us. It's who you are. It's part of who you are. So quite deep message here. Right, 39. Let's see what this is now. Channeling guide. So you have a strong ability to communicate the messages and teachings of divine beings. Again, this is a message. It's going to open up for people. Whether you are aware of it or not, you are receiving guidance and messages from those of others' dimensions of existence. One of your gifts is having the ability to share these high teachings with others. Sometimes you simply speak the words that are needed without even knowing the effect or power of what you've said. The channeling guide asks that you work on fine-tuning this gift. Meditate, listen, and follow the guidance you receive. So there's a lot of openings that are going to be coming for people. what they said to me about that card was, have you ever said something to a friend and they've gone, oh my God, where did that come from? It was profound. And it was exactly what a loved one needed to hear in the moment, and you didn't even think it just came out of you. That's pure divine wisdom. And it is in there. And they're saying that that's actually a link with the higher mind, because the higher mind isn't what we think it is on paper. The higher mind is an activated part of us that comes straight from the crown chakra and into the other parts of our system in our body. So we receive the guidance and we act on it straight away. We just know, we feel it, we do it, we speak it, we are it. And this is going to get stronger and stronger and stronger for people. So this is why, you know, some of us are going to be activated in new ways. So we're going to be called upon to teach certain subjects. We might be opening businesses. I also know, like, the guidance is probably going to change. The types of clients I will get will change. And actually there's going to be a lot more people open to intuitive guidance that weren't before, because through a series of events or an event in their life, it's going to sometimes push them to go outside the box for a new way. So things that might not be working, a bit like in the dark night of the soul, you almost get pushed to the hilt to go, I can't do this anymore, I've got to hand this over, please God help me. And that's usually when the miracle starts to appear, it starts to happen, because the person gets pushed into you know, a corner to help them to embrace the letting go or the acceptance of all their parts of themselves that maybe they were denying before. There's so many different ways this can play out. But the thing is, because everything's sped up now, as in the energies is so much more powerful and stronger on the earth, and people have been clearing their karma, a lot of people have still got to do it. It's not like a competition or a race, guys. It's hard to sometimes... I don't want to misconstrue the message I'm trying to bring across, but it's sometimes very difficult because the messages I get cannot be put into words. But this almost like this activation of people dealing with stuff finally, they will be, the gentle nudges time is going to be over now. It's going to be like I'm not saying a mass wake up, but there's going to be more and more people waking up that are going to need guidance and help. Because I know when I really started opening up to things than just a life of going to work, coming home and not being tuned in, that's the truth, is that my whole life changed. But it means I get to see everything, even uncomfortable things. But it's about learning to tether and to work with it and not see it as something that works against me or something that tries to scare me. It's there for the benefit of me and those that I come into contact with. Is that 20 years ago, it was a slower process. Now it's a lot quicker. So people are going to be calling on people who have these metaphysical skills to guide them, to show them the way. Because the cards that we've got down here, so the Starseed card, I've not even looked at this, is the Courageous Peony. Multifaceted, unique nature, let yourself be seen. You know, so it's time to come out the closet, guys. For some people, come out the closet about what you do. And to show the world the whole of your beauty, because we've got the beauty card there as well. Again, these were not the cards I was expecting. So, I mean, I didn't have an idea, but it just wasn't what I was expecting. But there's the beauty card here is just being there in all one's glory. And around this we've got, you see, Black Moon Lilith, this is the card of shadow work as well. So some of us are going to really be helping people to do their shadow work in this period. And, you know, it's not because they're behind us or I know more or you know more. It's not like that, guys. That's what I'm probably trying to make sure is not in this message today. This whole hierarchical structure that is in a lot of spiritual communities is just BS. It's why I'm not affiliated with anybody anymore. Well, you know, your teacher knows more and you've got to hang on every word. no, the teacher should be empowering their students, but that the teacher also knows that their students are as much teachers to them as they are to them. Again, it's not about the ego, it's not about somebody knowing more, but there is a portion of society that is still asleep to things, and how we're treating Mother Earth and how we are responding to Mother Earth. And I think with the way that things are going to shift in the coming years, Aquarius is known symbolically as the water bearer, so there is going to be a change with the water here as well. I'm going to see if there's anything else here, because they're not showing me to, they're not guiding me to talk about these cards anymore, but I want to get the inner Sigal. So for the winter solstice, please, the winter solstice. Okay, 3 cards are saying. Right. And, yeah. Healing. Take your mask off. I have to leave that light there. Sorry if it's glaring, guys, but they wanted that in the video. They said they want to show us how the light's coming in. It's very powerful. And help from above. So they're saying that the first few weeks of 2021, so when you talk about solstice, powerful transitions, healing, light coming in, everybody thinks a bit like in 2012, 12, that it was going to be the end of all our problems, and, you know, that was it, and, you know, somebody was going to land on the earth. And, you know, there were all these different types of theories. I'm not criticising it. There were just genuinely people thought that there was something magical that was going to happen. But that's always available to us, always, with our ability to manifest. I think we don't realise how powerful we are, but what they're saying is the use of the higher mind is that we get to choose how we use that for good or bad, and we are going to start seeing that in the coming years. But with these transitions, I'm just going to leave those cards there so you can see them. So with these transitions over into new energies, is there's a period of chaos. So there's a period of where, as I'd written on the group, on the main Facebook page tonight, we're going from I to us, me to we. So it's not about this every man for himself business now, is not Aquarius energy. And this is where the Uranus, the, you know, the almost like the bolt out of the blue energy of Uranus that just brings shock surprises and things that are left field, that's going to happen for some people to wake them up. But what Spirit is saying here is that they want you to know that nothing is happening by, we don't have a lack of choice in this. What it is that it's for the good of it's a universal law kicking in. It's correction. It is it's the law of nature. So what we are seeing on the earth with natural disasters and the lack of biodiversity is the law of nature correcting itself. So you can't just pillage from the earth and not put back in. So you can't just live off the earth and think the earth will just give you things without, and it's still being destroyed. And it's not about sustainability. It's about taking from the earth but giving back to the earth at the same time. So for many, many people, this is why what they're doing, where they're living, what their missions are, what their purposes are, is going to shift in with this Aquarius energy. Because where we're building in Saturn and we're growing and we're learning karmically with Saturn is expanding in Jupiter. So we're getting the help from the universe on this. But this is why the messages are always about, it's up to us. It's not like some magical force is going to come down on the earth and fix it for us. It's not. This time of Aquarius is where we get this, we only get one shot at this, and this is what's coming up now. Is it's for us to come together. So if you're interested in you know, biodiversity, and you've got an idea, now is the time to act on it. Now is the time to take off that mask of worrying, of thinking, oh, David's got this absolutely daft idea to do this. Who gives a toss if you know that that idea is not only going to help the environment, it's going to bring you a lot of joy, and it's a period of exploration, it's something you're feeling really passionate to do. Just do it. Just go for it, because you'll get the help. And I've actually done a lot of readings this year for people who are going to be pioneers of the earth. I've actually seen it in my readings where they're actually going to really create new methods, and they're, let's not say without already that there's people already doing this, but it's going to grow and expand. These things are going to take off. So again, it's not about magical thinking or denial. It's about being on the earth and being connected to these energies that are available to us, which is the higher mind, a real upgrade even with our intuition. So don't be surprised if even people that you have got, you would never ever think they would engage in this kind of thinking or thought process, they are actually going to open up conversations in this arena. There's going to be a lot of healing going on, so there's going to be a lot of people waking up with, and it will be through shadow work, so they will going back and healing their past. So looking back and clearing out the closets and making peace with it and integrating it. Yeah, that's going to be very, very, very powerful over the coming months. So this transition into me, myself and I, to we, us, how can we come together? You know, we see a lot of this on the TV at the moment, don't we, with the pandemic, but are we actually doing it? Are people actually living it? Most of the people in my life live that way and think that way and talk that way because they happen to be very kind, loving, beautiful souls. And I choose to have those people in my life, and I'm really blessed. I'm very humble that they love me and I'm in their lives. But, you know, like does attract like. And I think for many people as well, they're going to be looking at this. Do I want to affiliate with people who are just moaning and bitching and looking at and blaming this and blaming that and not taking responsibility for their lives? No, I actually don't, because that's just going to bring my energy down. It's nothing to do with being selfish. I quite happily help somebody when they're going through a transition, but there's a point where, you know, there are times in our lives where we get battered by lots of different challenges altogether, but there comes a point where we have to get past that. We have to get past that, and we have to take self-responsibility. So I might do another video on this, guys. I'm just going to do this video for now because I've got to go. I'm going to a candlelight ceremony for the solstice tonight. Obviously it's socially distanced, but I'm sending you my love and lots of light. And this is going to be this is a really powerful time for many people in a really good way. Like I'm flying it at the moment, so I'm kind of just riding the wave of the energy, and I'm embracing it, and I'm just going with it, and I'm listening. Rest in the days where rest is needed, and then utilising when I've got lots of energy to get things done, and that's how it tends to work. So yeah, I'll try and bob this up as soon as I can, and on to the next video. So I'm sending lots and lots of love. Take care. Bye bye.